Extermination Radio with your hosts, John Vail and Tanner West.
Alright, welcome to World Extermination Radio. I'm John 40-ounce Vail.
And I'm Tanner Splatterhouse West.
We're nearing Doom's 20th birthday. It's actually coming up in a couple of months, December 10th. That means we got new CAC awards, and of course I'll be the Mapper of the Year again. Just kidding, I suck. But here to celebrate it with us, we got the famous Doom God, an incredible monster killing machine, world record speedrunner, and killer deathmatch player, mapper, and famous for the pinnacle of classic Doom megawatts, Alien Vendetta, Anders Johnsen.
Thanks.
How's it going, man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, you know. I'm not spending 20 hours a day playing anymore, but I'm doing okay otherwise.
Unlike us, we're playing Doom all the time. We're huge Doom fans, obviously. You don't play Doom as much. What have you been playing lately? Do you have any like favorite WODs?
Favorite WODs? Yeah, sure. You're probably tired of hearing the same old list with all the classic grandfather megawatts, Memento Mori, Strain, and all of those. I mean, those are great, and they deserve all the praise they get because they were the shit when they came out like 10, 15 years ago. And I still play those, and I'm very nostalgic about them, but there's been a lot of great maps made in the later years too. So it's hard to pick favorites, you know. I prefer to pick favorite authors instead. That's easier for me.
Have you played any of any of the new Doom WODs?
Not too many, I think. I did play Back to Southern X. That's the last one I played just a few days ago. And I thought that was great. And I was impressed by the 1.9 compatibility they included. I didn't think people made maps for 1.9 anymore, so yeah.
Cool. So you used to do a lot of speedrunning back in the day, right?
Yeah. Feels like I spent half my life doing speedruns.
Yeah.
So you could say that, yeah.
Yeah, you've I mean, I was reading up on you. You've made like a lot of like the world records and stuff for like Doom 2 and
I always split my Doom between making maps, playing deathmatch, and doing single player speedruns.
Oh, deathmatch
so
too.
It was like, yeah, sure. It was like a full-time job.
Yeah.
I spent 5 hours a day playing Doom for many years. It sounds insane, but that's what I did. So
yeah,
That sounds perfectly normal to us.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Yeah, but I kept that up for like almost 8 years, something like that. And I played competition. Probably heard about it. Pretty famous in its time for Doom speedrun page run by Adam Hedgie.
Yeah.
It's being brought back to life now by two Croatian guys, I think. But anyway, we spent most of our time trying to get the most amount of points on the competition lists. So you can imagine, yeah. I think I had like 140 at one point. So a lot of time.
Nice.
So what are those points for? But how do you get points?
You know, you got 1 point for each record you broke. It was pretty simple, and you would get a half a point if you did a certain category that was easier than others. So you had some difference there, but usually you would get 1 point for each map you managed to beat, and you could spend like 20 hours on one record. Just improve it by perhaps 1 second, you know.
Yeah, just that 1 second is all you need.
Sure, yeah.
That's cool, man. But you've also played deathmatch too. You're a really good deathmatch player.
Yeah, I think I probably spent the most time on deathmatch.
Oh yeah.
So I spent a lot of time with playing deathmatch. Yes.
That's cool. do you use like any of like the new source ports now, like Z Demon or Xandronum or anything, or do you do like classic death matches like with like
Yeah,
the
I'm
classic old Doom
strictly
EXE?
classic. Yeah, sure. Doom, for me, it's blasphemy to have jumping in mouse looking these things. I mean, they can have a point today in certain maps, but the kind of Doom I used to play, it was strictly old school.
Ooh.
Just plain old boring Doom.
Oh, that's not boring. That's
never.
exactly how I play.
Yeah.
I like the old school style too, because like I've played with like newer source ports and stuff, and some you kind of like you can find the little like things that they improve on. Like sometimes you can have like just just like little things that they're things that they think they're fixing, but they're like bugs,
Yeah,
like little
yeah.
little things that I have already adjusted to, like being able to walk over and under
Sure.
cacodemons.
There's no need to mess with perfection. I never understood
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's beyond me why they would change anything.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
Now, did you ever were your death matches strictly for fun? Did you ever do any sort of tournaments or anything like that? Or
Yeah, sure. I did tournaments, and we had local tournaments inviting. I think the most amount of people I had in my living room were like 14 Doomers who flew in from all over Europe.
Oh
wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Back in 2000, I think it was. So we had a pretty big LAN at my place. I'm sure we had a tournament. So I was very serious about my death match back in the days.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, do you think your deathmatch experience has helped you improve your single player gameplay? And are there like any certain techniques or things that you've kind of merged over?
Mm-hmm. I think it's very interconnected. I think both of them improve your game in different ways. I think my movement skills improved a lot because of all the single player I did. And that transferred over to the deathmatch and gave me an edge over a lot of players because I spent so much time also playing single player.
No, that actually kind of sounds backwards to me. I would feel like I would feel like you would get better movement skills because in deathmatch you have to constantly stay moving. But hey, I mean,
yeah, sure, but not really because when you play single player competition style, it's all about the movement skill and perfection, and you have to practice again and again on certain techniques. In deathmatch, it's more erratic. You don't get the same sort of hardcore practice in one style of movement.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's really cool because we've actually heard from other people we've interviewed that they've told us that playing in deathmatch helped them play better in single player.
Sure, it probably goes both ways. I mean, but
yeah,
I think if you do, yeah, sure.
So I'm going to kind of switch it up a little bit onto the next topic. So obviously everybody knows that you're had a huge hand in Alien Vendetta. Now, before we get into that, what are some other things that you've done? What other maps have you made or projects you've contributed to?
Well, none of them got released, but we did a lot of stuff in-house over here. The thing was, we were a bunch of guys over here, friends who started a lot of projects, and eventually one of those became a we. But we had a lot of other projects in the works back in the days that never saw the day of light, so the light of day. So I have a lot of stuff on my hard drive that nobody's seen. Different maps I started, but nothing released though.
Do you still have that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Would you be willing to share them with us?
I don't think any of those are ready to be released or something like that. It's just curiosities for me. So I don't know. Perhaps somebody would think it fun to look at them. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure we would, because we always like. I mean, I've looked at a lot of I've seen a lot of unfinished levels. Like, I understand that some levels just aren't done, and they're not really set for release. But I still like to, because I don't always download WODs just to play them. I like to study some of the the way they're designed and stuff. And Alien Vendetta is really like one of the top WODs for that, because it's really you can see how much craftsmanship is put into it. How it's like catered to so many different styles, and that's something that's really inspiring for me as a mapper.
That's cool. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, have you made any, I know since you're big into deathmatch, have you ever made deathmatch levels?
Yeah, I have, I guess. But I never really got those right. I just came back to good old Map 1 and Doom 2 instead. So I always found that no matter how much I wanted to make a good deathmatch level, there were always something better already done. So yeah, it wasn't really my thing to make deathmatch maps. I think didn't work well. But we do have some deathmatch maps included in Alien Vendetta, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sure. If you load AV up on deathmatch, you get a whole set of levels just for that purpose.
Oh yeah, that's right, because the demo lumps that are in it are being played in deathmatch. So yeah, that's really cool. When you're designing levels for single player, do you typically design levels that like test your skills?
You mean gameplay wise?
Yes. Yeah.
Like that was the original concept of AV. You know, I wanted to challenge myself and make really good demos of the maps that I made. That was like the core inspiration, but it didn't turn out that way though. It became more a thing of creativity, I think, making good maps that were fun to play instead of being too challenging.
Oh, okay.
Now, I can say that a lot of those maps, even though you may, look at it that way, I think those maps are pretty challenging still.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they're pretty hard, I guess. Yeah, but not like we intended them to be, because we wanted to beat Hell Revealed and make the ultimate hard maps, and that doesn't really work because it becomes boring to play.
You think so?
I think so, but
that?
beyond a certain level, because I want to have maps that are fun to play again and again.
Right.
If you exhaust the player and you make something too hard, and that goes on for like 32 maps, by the end of the day, you just want to have fun, I think, relax and play, and the map needs to have good gameplay that's challenging but not impossible.
Right. Oh, okay.
I think, the thing that I really like about AV is, yeah, like you said, they're challenging, but they're not, exhausting or ridiculous. But, it's I really admire, that you can come to that happy medium where they're just extremely fun to play, and you might have to try a couple times to get past certain parts, but you still want more, and it's still just, because that's my personal, Alien Vendetta is up there on my favorite WODs list, so it's definitely, that style of gameplay really entices me, so I want to, just say that, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good. Good that we entertain someone at least.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
It's cool that you say that, because it's interesting, because I mean I'm not shooting you down, because I think you're absolutely right, but there are people that do that really like go for that kind of like grindy style. In fact, there's a series of megawads being released recently called Slaughterfest. They have Slaughterfest 2011, and they're just wrapping up Slaughterfest 2013 this year, and the whole premise is to create levels that are just completely masochistic. Like it's like they're so hectic, and even after like 30, 40 tries, there's many of the maps I still I'm not even halfway through them.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just ridiculous.
Yeah. I guess, but that's something new too, I guess. If you take it that far, it becomes something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
that's cool with Alien Vendetta though, because it is like one of the it's the pinnacle of like classic megawads.
Oh, and, that's very kind. I'm not sure about that, but it's nice to hear.
No, I'm sure it is, because people are still, I still see like on the demos forum people still like competing to try and make the best times, and it's up there. But there's there's other megawatts too. I mean, like one that came out a couple years, actually around the time I made UAC Ultra. I think it was 2011 or 2010 maybe. A megawatt came out called Speed of Doom, which was said to be the new Alien Vendetta.
Cool. I should check that out too. I never heard about it. So
yeah, definitely, it's really good.
I'll put that on the list as well. Sure.
Now, have you so out of all your map making escapades, let me say, have you ever made something that was just whether it be an unfinished version of a map or something that you went back and edited? Have you ever made something that was too hard for you to even beat?
The way I did gameplay, I didn't populate the entire map and then try to finish it. I just did bits of the map, then played that and added to it all the time. So I sort of completed the map as I populated it, more or less. I never made something where I just finished the map, then populated everything and tried to beat it.
Oh, okay.
So that's hard to say.
How would you do that in the editor? Do you move the player start to the part that you're making next?
No, because I want to flow from start to that point, So
okay.
Yeah. A lot of hours playtesting Alien Vendetta because of that, you might say. That's just the way that worked for me, though. And I love playing the maps anyway, so why not?
Yeah.
I would tweak the gameplay a lot, though. So, yeah.
What else was I going to say? I saw you had some demos of Alien Vendetta being played in Nightmare. Did you make any tweaks to the gameplay to make it work in Nightmare mode, or do you?
Yeah, actually yes, but that's not a very known fact, I guess. But I think a lot of the maps in Alien Vendetta would be completable on Nightmare if somebody figured out the best ways to beat them. It seems impossible on a lot of maps, but actually most of them should be doable, I think.
Oh wow.
But even more interesting, I think the fact that we balanced AoE so that one could, in fact, make a monster demo going from map 1 to map 32 without dying and doing 100% secrets and kills. Imagine that would take, like, I don't know, 8 hours perhaps in one playthrough.
Yeah.
I actually tried to make that demo myself, and I think I got to map 16, 17. And that alone is like 3-4 hours, I think.
Yeah.
Jeez. I think it probably would take a little more than 8, because once you start getting to, once you get into like the late teens and 20s, it just all slows down and your progress crawls,
That's true. Yeah. Well, I attempted it at least, but yeah, even to map 16, it was pretty draining.
Let me ask you. So what are your favorite? Like, what are some of your favorite Doom monsters? When playing, I guess.
Yeah. I think actually the hit scanners. I think take Doom 2 map 2 Underhalls. The mixture of monsters you have at map. It sounds pretty dull, but I find it flows better with the easier monsters like gunners and stuff, instead of barons and lots of bosses and stuff like that.
Oh man,
that's my preference. I like to blaze through a rather simple map with a lot of hit scanners.
Ah, you're evil.
Yeah, I know.
Ah man, those hit scanners, man.
Yeah, but you can line them up and you get awesome shotgun kills.
Oh yeah, super shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a big pile of them, you get like 4 of them in one shot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can't tell that you like smaller monsters by the way you design your maps.
Yeah, that's the point, I guess.
But what do you think are some of your biggest inspirations for I guess we'll just say Alien Vendetta, because that's the only thing that you've publicly released. But we could say all your maps, but Alien Vendetta in specific. What's your inspiration?
I think mainly it's the maps in Ultimate Doom's 4th episode, especially the ones by John Romero.
Oh yeah.
E4 M2 and E4 M6, for instance, those are 2 of my favorite maps ever. And I think a lot of that transferred into Alien Vendetta, especially in the Hellish maps. So that's probably the main source of inspiration, I would say. But there's been a lot of awesome maps that inspired me. Dystopia, for instance. I'm not sure you know what episode that is. Have you heard of Dystopia at all? Or?
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've played that before. It's by Ika Karinen.
Yeah, something like that. It's a Finnish mapper. He made some excellent maps. And I think his style inspired me a lot, because what he did was he made simple architecture, but managed to create a sort of atmosphere in his maps that made him special, just by the way he molded the sectors and how he used the textures and light levels. So that was a big inspiration for me, and probably also Kim Malde, the co-author of AV.
Yeah.
I used to mimic his style early on because he was much more advanced compared to me in map making.
Yeah, he's made some beautiful maps like Toxic Touch.
Yeah, and he made that map back in like 1996, and people didn't do a lot of the stuff he did that map back then. Yeah. So
wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I can see it in some of your maps too. Like Crimson Tide is a really beautiful map. I liked Lake Poison and Dark Dome a lot too.
Lake Poison, yes.
Thanks. Yeah, I think out of those 3, Crimson Tide is my favorite because it's one of the maps I made towards the end, and it's clearly better than my earlier creations. I think I just got the simplicity and the texturing and the gameplay right in that one.
That's cool, man.
Let me ask you now. What's your preference? What are your favorite themed maps? Do you like hell maps? Do you like tech bases? What's your preference? What's your favorite? What's most fun to make, and what just are you better at?
I think for me, what's most fun to make is a really good hellish map. But what's most fun to play is probably like an Udom tech base.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See, I'm a big fan of the hell maps. Well, not necessarily hell, but I guess hell, but a lot of the outdoor, the mountain type maps. Yeah. Especially the combination of the mountain and cavern type maps, especially when they use the hellish textures. That's just my favorite there. Exactly.
Yeah, that's my cup of tea too. Yeah.
Like Firewalk with me. I really like that map a lot.
Yeah, that is one good map.
Thank you. Yeah, that's one of the maps I'm happy about. I guess that's the only hellish map that I really got right. The other maps have sort of bits and pieces that are okay, but that one felt sort of nice from the start till the end, and it's not always you feel like that. But if you want really good hellish maps, I would recommend Richard Wiles. He made some awesome stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
we'll check that out.
Yeah, sure. Just what was that episode called? I'm not sure. He made an entire episode for Ultimate Doom with some really Crusades, I think. Yeah.
Oh yes, I've played that.
Yeah, that's excellent.
That's the E4, the episode 4 themed. With like gothic deathmatch textures.
Yeah, wonderful maps.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's cool. So
I just got it.
yeah. What editors did you use to make like Alien Vendetta with? Because like we have a whole bunch of new editors and stuff now. Because this new thing we have, I mean it's not that new, but we have Doom Builder 2 now, which is just so user friendly.
Yeah.
What did you use to make Alien Vendetta with?
Yeah, I had a look at Doom Builder and it feels ridiculous. It's awesome, The speed you can make maps with that thing, it's mind-boggling. Anyway, we used the early tools. I started with DEU, the old school thing where you had to type in what coordinate you wanted to. You couldn't just draw the line depths. You had to type them in manually and shit. So it took forever. Yeah. But then we mainly used depth for the later bulk of maps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I never used DEU before. I didn't know you have to type. What do you have to do? Like type in the coordinates for the vertices?
Yeah, in the early editions we started with you had to do that, but eventually we got hold of a better version where you could just drag drop them.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, but when
that sounds awful.
Yeah, when Kim Malde made Mishri Halek map 20 in AV, his computer would use 30 seconds for each seg drop. 30 seconds waiting.
No way.
Wow.
That's pretty pissy.
Yeah. Oh man, it must have taken forever to make levels like that.
Yeah.
We're so privileged now because I use Doom Builder and like you can. I made a map today in 2 hours. And
Oh. Yeah, that's fast.
Yeah, it's so quickly you can just draw a bunch of shapes and attach them together, and like the nodes build as soon as you save your level, and it takes like 10 seconds, and
It's awesome. Yeah.
it's so fast.
I think the node builder, the longest I've waited for a node builder to complete was 2 hours.
No way.
Wow.
Sure. Old computer, and a lot of segs. 2 hours.
Now, do you think you would ever make another map?
I have a lot of ideas for maps in my head, but when I sit down and want to actually make them, I sort of feel a bit depleted. I don't know. One day, perhaps. Kim Malde passed away a year ago, and he started this awesome map for Sea Doom, and I really want to complete it for him and release it, but so far I haven't been able to do that. It's making me a bit depressed just to work on the map because it was his creation, But perhaps one day I will sit down and I will try to complete that map, because the start that he made is fantastic. I think people would, it's mind-boggling.
That would be really nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would like that.
I think so too. So one day I should sit down and just crank that one out.
Definitely. I agree.
Do you use Doom Builder now?
I have checked it out, but I would have to learn my way around it. I would definitely use Doom Builder if I was to do more maps, though, because it's so easy to use compared to the old stuff.
Now, do you find the ideas that you have for maps now, are they? Well, what kind of ideas do you have? Are they like are they more like Alien Vendetta type stuff, or are they like
No, if I was to make a map now, I would just do it because of the creativity. Alien Vendetta was more about gameplay and wanting to make something solid for the competition scene. Maps that could be played and recorded. If I was to make a map now, I would want to utilize all the new school stuff. I would just build stuff and make it look really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just for fun, And the ideas I have are pretty insane anyway. It's like huge cities and huge castles on a cliff and stuff like that. Stuff you can't do in old ports.
Oh, okay, cool.
Well, we're anxiously waiting.
Yeah, we'd love to play your stuff if you,
that's cool.
if that stuff ever comes into fruition. We'd love to play it.
That's
because you're a huge inspiration for me as a mapper. I try to design a lot of levels. I look at a lot of classic megawatts for inspiration, and Alien Vendetta is definitely up there, along with the usual classic megawatts too.
That's great to hear. That's, if we inspired anyone, that's awesome. I think all of us in the Doom community, we look at other people's work and we get inspired. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the cool things about it.
Yeah, that's definitely how it is for me. If I'm ever having trouble designing a level, it just helps to play Doom once in a while, and it just kind of it kind of opens up your mind, gives you a whole bunch of new ideas.
Now, if you do ever decide to go through your hard drive, maybe find a map or two for us, that'd be cool. But no pressure, no pressure.
Yeah, it would be awesome for Doom's 20th birthday.
Yeah, perhaps. Perhaps I need to dig up one of the old hard drives and have a look. I don't know. You know, I have the competent guys hackling me to do a new demo as well, so
Yeah.
perhaps I should get playing again too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey man, you should.
Yeah, that's what we're here for, man. We're promoting Doom.
Yeah.
You will play Doom and you will like it.
Yeah, you know, I already played a bit of Doom, so and I already like it, so that's okay.
I did want to ask, do you play other games besides Doom?
Yeah, I do, but it's mostly like because of the social activity. You know, I'm on TeamSpeak and I'm playing with my friends, and just it's not like a sport like Doom was. Doom was like a sport to me, you know, for many years. But now I just play games to relax and kick back and have fun, and then you know, Left 4 Dead for instance, I'm having a lot of fun with that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And older games, Rainbow Six, for instance. Yeah.
So, well, you said Doom is kind of like a sport. Like, what about it makes it like so much more competitive than like other games?
You know, I think it's just the pace, the simplicity of Doom, and the crispness of the gameplay. I think it was Ocelot, perhaps the best Doom deathmatcher ever, who once said that Doom is like a martial art without the physical parts, and that covers it pretty much. Yeah.
It is, yeah, you're right, because everything is so tactical, and like there's a set way to handle every monster encounter. So
yeah, sure, and I don't think people understand how well Doom plays before they played it like 3,000 hours plus. You know, you need to play it a lot just to see how good it really is, and it's pretty amazing.
That's true. It does take a lot of time to appreciate.
Yeah, one of the best ways you can play Doom is to do a 30 Doom 2 on Nightmare and just try to complete the entire game in one sitting without dying, because it's like they made the game with that as an intention. It just flows perfectly from map 1 until map 30, you know, by chance. So, yeah.
I agree with that completely, too.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't think a lot of... When I'm designing my levels, I'm not sure if a lot of people consider how they play in Nightmare mode. And that's one thing I consider a lot when I'm designing my levels, is I take into account how differently the game plays in Nightmare, and it's so hectic and fast paced, and it's, you know,
that's cool. Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people play it that way, but that's something I kind of want more people to open up to.
It's an entire new layer of playing. I think it adds a lot to the game, at least. So yeah, sure.
Yeah,
that's good thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because, you know, you don't even think about it, because like some of the levels are just like, you know, just like some of the monster encounters, like they're not designed in such a way where you'll have to fight the monsters after they respawn, you know, because they end up like clogging up an entire room, and like it's just so, but it's the way that they're. I don't think a lot of people, when people don't consider it, it's kind of frustrating for me, because I do like to play in Nightmare mode, because it's so it gets like your adrenaline pumping, you know, it's so it's crazy.
Sure. Yeah, it's one of the best ways to play Doom, in my opinion. And if you really want to have your adrenaline pumping, you should try Doom 2 on co-op mode, you know. Just start from map 1 and try to stay alive until map 30. Because that's...
On Nightmare mode?
Just, yeah. Well, you need to do it a lot, you know, and you need to have the routes planned. But when you have that down, it's amazing. It's a real rush. Yeah.
I've played.
I was going to say, hey, well, John, looks like we know we're doing this coming weekend together.
Yeah, I played online with people on co-op with Doom 1. We played that on Nightmare, and a lot of people gave up pretty quick, because we were playing on Odomex, which is kind of like we were playing on an early version, and it was buggy, and it was kind of crappy for people that were playing like overseas and stuff.
If it's to be real fun, you need to have all the routes planned out in advance. You can't just join a server because that would be a mess, you know. You need to have 1 or 2 or 3 guys with you and just plan the routes and then just do it over and over again. And as you progress into like map 20, it's a real kick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you gotta work together too, because like we found when we got up to like episode 1 map 3 that there's a point where you have to go down this long stretch of hallways and you have to get to the key and then you have to bring it all the way back to the starting room where the blue door is.
Yeah.
And
right.
by the time you get to the blue key, you've already like you've used up all the health and like you're down to like 15% health. There's no way to do it. You need somebody to, you know, watch your back and keep those hallways clear so that when you get the key, you can come all the way back with it and not have to deal with all those monsters on the way back. And it's like a level of communication you have to you have to tell each other.
Yeah.
Because like if you're just kind of like haphazardly shooting everything, you kind of it defeats the purpose because you're not helping each other. You're not playing cooperatively. You're
that's you need to know exactly what to do at all the time, and that's part of what makes it so fun when it works. You know, me and Henning Skogstø, another Norwegian Doomer, we did the first ever Doom 2 cooperative nightmare in one sitting, you know, from map 1 to 30. Nobody did it before. This was back in like 2000, I think. And I think we spent like 100 hours just planning the routes and playing the maps over and over again until we got it, you know. But the rush you have in map 30 after working so long on completing the run, and when you finally nail it, that's amazing. It's addictive.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
What would you say is the hardest map in Doom 2 to beat on Nightmare?
The hardest map in Doom 2 is probably map 29, if you're going from
29,
scratch.
huh?
Yeah, the living end.
I get up to about map 9, and that's where everything seems to drop. I can usually handle it up until there, but that's about as far as I can get.
Yeah. Map 9 requires a bit of planning, I guess, because it's a big map, but that's pretty far. Most people don't get past map 7.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I did map 7 actually because of the
For the respawn, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. you gotta get them before they all respawn.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any like good stories of like playing like cooperatively with other people or playing deathmatch? Like, do you have any like favorite games that you had or?
Yeah, sure. Deathmatch, I had a lot of crazy games, you know. For instance, just to illustrate how serious I was about my deathmatching, after many years of not playing, I decided to enter a tournament on, I think it was Sea Demon, back in the early days, the early versions of Sea Demon. And it was a European tournament where people could sign up with a nick and just play 2 games. You know, you would, then you would add up the score and you'd see who won. Easy enough. Anyway, I joined under a fake nick, pretty weak, but I didn't want to play under my real name because I was so rusty. I hadn't been playing in like a year or something.
Yeah.
And I was up against one of the really strong European players, Titan. I don't know if you know the guy. He probably still plays from time to time.
What's his name?
Titan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I think
anyway.
I've heard that name.
Yeah, he was one of the good European players. And it came down to a game between me and him in the end. We were leading on the scoreboards, you know. And during the game, I was losing the first game. And I got so pissed, I ran my fist into a piece of really expensive equipment that was right next to me. It was a stereo, like pretty expensive stuff. And I was bleeding from my knuckles and stuff, but I decided I'm going to finish this game anyway. So I just played on, and amazingly, I managed to win the tournament under some bogus nick, you know. But the equipment was
so
done for, so that cost me like several $100, you know. That was one expensive game to win.
Nice.
And you did you ever tell anybody about your fake nick, or is this
Yeah, you know, people had some suspicions, and the guy who lost to me was really pissed because, He claimed that I snuck up on him, didn't reveal who I was, so we couldn't prepare, stuff like that. So there was a bit of drama going on, but it all ended well. We ended it as friends anyway. So yeah,
that's so funny.
Yeah. So we had a lot of crazy games, deathmatch games at least. I once invited Oslot over for LAN. Oslot is probably the most known and the best European Doom deathmatch player ever. There is two guys, in my opinion. You have him, and or in the US, you have High Django or Chewy, or that's the same guy under different nicks. He doesn't play anymore, but it was amazing. Anyway, Oslot came to my place in 1999 to play LAN games of deathmatch, just to figure out who was the biggest badass. And the last game of the LAN was sort of special. Both of us really wanted to win that one. And he lost, by one frag. So he just pulled his headset off, tossed it on the floor, and he ran outside. And the rest of the LAN just followed pace and wondered, what the hell is this? And he was standing in my garden, and he was like beating on a plum tree with his fist. in agony of having lost the last game on the LAN. So that's how serious we were about our gaming back then. It's pretty ridiculous. Yeah.
That's so awesome that Doom can be like so competitive like that. I mean, I've had experiences like that. I've played I played a little bit of deathmatch, but there was this one time where I was sure I was going to win. And I lost by one frag, just like that story you were telling me.
Uh-huh.
And I smashed a keyboard. Because I had the keyboard on my lap, and I was so pissed. And I just smashed it and split it in half on my nade. I was so frustrated because I was so close to winning, and I lost it.
I know the feeling.
And all I had to do was let up my guard for like a split second, and that costed me the game.
Yep, yeah, been there, done that. It's terrible. Yeah, I play this game so much. I have a keyboard that I saved actually, because my movement keys are melted into strange shapes. I actually have a picture of this on my hard drive, so I should upload it somewhere. But it's like all the keys, the main Doom keys, are melted, seriously melted. You can see my nail imprints on the case.
What?
That's awesome.
That's pretty sick. Yeah, I think Badco has a story about this on Doom2.net under my player profile. Yeah, so I should definitely upload that picture one day. It's like this happens if you play too much Doom.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Oh man, but that's just what makes Doom so great,
Yeah.
It's a never-ending game, and it's just it's so, you just get so wrapped up in it,
Yeah, yeah, and there's so many different areas you can touch upon. There's mapping, there's speedrunning, there's deathmatch. You can make textures. All of this comes together, and there's so much you can do with the game. So it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, you can find your niche. You can find the whatever you want to do. I mean, we got people in the community who make music, and we got people who can draw sprites, and they do all kinds of stuff. And there's always a way to help.
Sure.
And
it's so easy, and it's so available that everyone can do it. There's no. It's easy and it's accessible. And it's a great game to play on top of that. So that's what makes it special. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing about it, is just how accessible and how user friendly it is, and how it doesn't even really take that much work to do something that's remotely playable and fun.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and then you can take it really far. You can spend a year of your life just fine tuning something, and you can make something amazing, almost like a piece of art if you want, because the style of levels you can create, it's so diverse, and even though it's a very simple engine, you can have a lot of atmosphere, you can have a lot of soul in one map that differs it from other maps. you don't really have that in new games like Quake and all of those. It all looks the same, you know. But Doom can have its own identity from map to map, and that's great.
Absolutely. Well said, man.
Definitely.
Well, I think that about wraps it up. Seriously, Anders, it was awesome having you on the show.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Pleasure was all mine. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Keep playing Doom, man. Keep killing monsters. no matter how many keyboards you gotta wreck or stereos you gotta punch in.
yeah. Doom will always have a place in my life. That's for sure. Yeah.
Me too, man. Oh man, I could go on and on. But yeah, thanks again for being on the show.
Sure.
Finish up those maps, maybe we want to play them.
One day.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks again, man.